Welcome to the Queer Witch Project, your resource for all things queer and witchy. I am Damona Peacock, a fabulous, non-binary, neurospicy, ordained queerdo with a fascination for all things cycles, symbolism, and patterns.
And I'm Moonkittee, your queer femme poly kitchen witch and proud geek. Today's topic is arts and witchcraft. I
Ooh,
am so excited about this topic. I really am.
yay! Oh, the creative in us all, the
Yes.
creatrix in us all, rejoices for arts and crafts. Now, not everybody's artsy and craftsy, but you know what? There is so much magic and
Yes.
spirituality in allowing for some flavor of creativity
hmm
in
And
our
I would
lives.
I would be hard pressed to challenge everyone who says I'm not creative. I bet you are. It just your
Hmm.
creativity isn't coming out in a way that you think is culturally or societally
Yep.
mainstream enough because we are human beings, therefore we are
Yeah.
creative. We look for ways
Hmm.
to use our resources. We look for ways to improve our lives and make
Hmm.
things better, and there is a creativity inherent in that.
Oh, and there's so much craft to even
Oh yeah.
putting words together or finding things at the right time in the right place, or
hmm
there's so much more to creativity than putting ink to paper or
hmm
paint to canvas. But even if you're not the artsy type, it's still so much fun to play with paint.
hmm Or
It's
clay, or get your hands dirty, or
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
and and if you don't like to get your hands dirty, there is something to be said about digital art. There's some amazing
mm-hmm.
digital art out there. There's lots of tools and things that you can do if you're not
And
if you're not handsy.
it doesn't have to have a purpose other than the process. You don't
hmm
even have to like be married to the end product.
Mm-mm.
It's more about going through the process of doing it than it is about having a masterpiece at the end.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you come up with a masterpiece, so just saying, you never know.
And it's okay not to have masterpieces and not to be perfect. There's something to
Yeah.
be said about not every art endeavor should be sold or should be turned into
Hmm.
merchandise. Sometimes
Yep.
there is art for the beauty and sharing of
Hmm.
just making art. The end product sometimes doesn't matter. It's about the creative process because art feeds your creativity and your inspiration, and it's a connection to spirit. It really, truly
Hmm.
is.
Absolutely. Honestly, sometimes it's a channeling of spiritual energy and allowing your body, your hands, your mind to create that which wants to be created, to
hmm
channel that energy into your, material manifest. But the inspiration is there. And inspiration, that word means inspirited, in spirit.
hmm
So whenever we're inspired, it's because the spirit of something has hit us.
I love
And
that.
isn't that beautiful? Yeah. And creative energy, like we are humans, we create
hmm
and we destruct.
hmm
But if you want to maintain that balance in your life that's so healthy, make sure that you're allowing for creativity, you know,
hmm
and not just destruction. And sometimes, yeah, we have to allow for destruction, but yeah, make sure you're balancing those energies out.
We think of art again, trying to have an end product of it, but sometimes half the art is in the destruction of the
Mm,
art. I think of all of the Tibetan sand paintings and the
mm-hmm.
mandalas and stuff where there's are these beautiful, so meticulously, so carefully placed out sand line drawings with the
Prayed over.
entire intent of just once this beautiful creation is to blow it out to the wind
Release,
and let it
release it.
disperse.
Hmm. It's one of the reasons I love wearing henna art
hmm
from time to time is because it's temporary. And there's a beauty to that, to embracing the temporary nature of things. Everything is temporary, really. Um, Even the solid desk in front of me will eventually break down.
hmm
Even the technology we're using will eventually become obsolete.
hmm
So sometimes art is about being in touch with the temporary nature of life. sometimes we deconstruct art in order to make fresh art.
Mm-hmm.
I love one of the I love watching fashion competition shows, and I always love when their sewing challenges are
Mm-hmm.
to either take weird material
Mm-hmm.
or take fashion that already exists and re-envision it into something else.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Creation and destruction do sometimes play together fairly nicely.
Mm-hmm. And art itself, aside from being a great emotional or spiritual release, it also has some very inherent magical aspects to it too.
Mm.
There's the
Mm-hmm.
magic of
Mm-hmm.
creating something from nothing that is right there
Yeah.
in the name. It's you're
Yeah.
taking something that didn't exist and you're bringing it into existence, and there is
Mm-hmm.
absolute magic in doing that.
Imagine filling your altar with tools that you made yourself. I
Hmm.
mean, how much more empowered could you make your altar,
Hmm.
if not by crafting a tool or two for it?
Or decorations around your house. I know talking
Uh-huh.
about altar tools last week or a couple weeks ago in the podcast, we talked about top tools and basics. We talked about I mentioned that I made a wand. Same thing. It's an altar tool
Mm-hmm.
that I made, but it also is its own kind of piece of art that I was doing as we manifested. And I know we've done a lot
And
of
you put it,
different art projects together that have also had magical
yep.
aspects to them. I mean, we used to do. I know I have one. I'm holding it up for those who can see. This is one of your pieces that you gave to me, and this
It's
is
gay because
it's
it's a
very gay.
rainbow.
It's very gay. Sorry, I blocked the microphone. Um, but it's a labyrinth. It's
Mhm.
a rainbow labyrinth, and that idea of the walking the labyrinth and the movement through the labyrinth is a very magical spiritual connection. It's a mind's body connection to
Mhm.
take time and walk in the path of the labyrinth to find
It's a meditation.
yeah, it's a meditation to find a spirit. That's what I was trying to find. That was the word I was trying to find, but my mouth is just not working with today.
Yeah, it is. It's a meditative experience, and
Hmm.
I love walking labyrinths, out in the gardens and stuff. I love when
Hmm.
I find places that have labyrinths that are accessible to walk because there is a journey inward to the center of the labyrinth, which is also a journey,
Hmm.
the meditative journey inward to the center of self. And then you can download a message from there and journey out. But the thing about making a labyrinth an art is that you can sometimes just do that with your fingers, but
Hmm.
take your mind on the same journey. And even without, doing your finger, you can take your eyes and take yourself on the same journey.
Hmm.
Yeah. So there's so many layers to the magic of it all.
What are other ways that you've used art in your own practice?
Okay, so one of my favorite art traditions that I was taught by a local witch, my bestie and I went to her class offering, and then we took it to our own friends group. In fact, you hosted it
Hmm.
a year or two at your place. So this was an exercise that we would do every Imbolc. Imbolc is early February, and it's the promise of spring, the hints of spring where we're not quite out of winter yet, but things are starting to warm up, and spring will come. And what we would do is we would all get together and we would make a painting, but under these specific guidelines of creating a sigil for what you wish to plant, work on, grow in this year, this new
Hmm.
year that we're in, and we would put the sigil on the canvas. Eventually, we did watercolors, so we ended up using watercolor paper, and you'll know why later. I'll explain that in a minute. But on the canvas, we would put the sigil, and then over the sigil, we would create a painting of a tree. Now, your interpretation of that can be anything. What your tree looks like can be whatever you need it to be for that year. It can tie into the sigil or it doesn't have to. Really, we hid the sigil behind the painting and we put the painting of a tree, because that's to symbolize that the sigil is to be planted and grown in that year.
Hmm.
And so we would have these pieces of spell work in art, that we would hang on to through the wheel of the year, from Imbolc on through spring, all through summer. And then by the time that we would reach fall and Samhain and all those bonfire celebrations.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we didn't even get to this part until Yule,
Mm-hmm.
but the idea of after you've worked on your plan, your sigil, you have to let that go. And so we would burn our artwork. And at first, when I was like, what? I can't work on hours worth of artwork and spell work and then just burn it. But like you were talking about the
Mm-hmm.
sand mandalas or that beauty and the release, and the other thought that I tell myself is like, I can take pictures of the artwork. I have the memories of
Mm-hmm.
it. And now I've done it for years, so it's like, easy come, easy go, say la vie, say la, but we even changed it to watercolor paper and watercolors because we wanted a more environmentally friendly way of
Mm-hmm.
burning our
Yes.
artwork because we were like, oh, I don't know if we should be sniffing the
Burning the
fumes
acrylic,
from
yeah. Acrylic
canvas and
paint
acrylics.
and canvas and yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, but I love that just the whole ritual of carrying. And honestly, those paintings would go with us to like our convention.
Mm-hmm.
It would decorate our rooms. It would decorate our altars. We worked with the energy that we put into those paintings all year, all harvest long. And then symbolically, like with the wheel of the year, how the old year has to die to the new year, you let it all go, you burn
Mm-hmm.
it, and you start again the following Involk.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done that. We've done this working for several years.
Yeah.
And it's always a very fun and powerful magic. Your tree can look like anything. Every year, my tree looked different in some way, shape, or
Mm-hmm.
form. And you could be whatever, bland or creative or colorful or monotone or sometimes I would also do like my personal year number in numerology and let that inform what my sigil would look like
Mm-hmm.
or even how my tree would start manifesting. Like maybe I wanted to have if I'm in a three personal year, maybe I wanted to have like three main branches or forks or whatever. I just would always be inspired by whatever year I was in or whatever I was trying to manifest or call into my life. That's one of my favorite ways of using art and magic together. And honestly, it's always rainbow for me. I always
Mm-hmm.
put some kind of rainbow, so it's always queer.
Right. No, I
I
get
queer
it.
my art hard.
No, I tend to, I think, put less queer energy other than the fact that by my nature being queer, it's
Mhm,
inherently boosts in that. But I do a lot of rainbows when I'm doing
mhm,
kind of physical art. When I'm doing more crafty art, the kitchen witch side takes over, and
mhm.
there are some naturally occurring rainbows in herbs and things, but they're a lot more challenging to have kept for a long run. So there's because as things tend to, things that were alive tend to die, they tend to just lose their color as much. But so a lot more of my things tend to be more earth colors and neutrals and stuff.
Mhm.
Oftentimes with fresh stuff, when there's absolutely a rainbow in my magical fruit salads, in the
Yep.
the stuff that I do, there's very much that rainbow energy.
Colors. There's a whole magic to color.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But there's so many cool things that you can do that become art or wall art or decoration or just enhancing little things.
Mhm.
I'm going to share this one also for those of you who can see it.
Oh.
This is made out of cinnamon sticks. And we've talked about cinnamon being the spice that connects the divine to the earthly realms. So it connects higher all the levels of consciousness. And it's in the symbol for air, for communication and spirit. And this is just something that again I worked together very simply, attached it, and this hangs over my door frames in my office. So every time I walk into here, I have that spiritual cinnamon
Mhm.
energy coming through with the idea of communication and air energy and all of that for this space, which is my office, which I need to be able to have that clear communication energy going in it at all times. So there are lots of ways
Mhm.
that you can do things that are subtle. So you can have the big things, but you can also have subtle little things that you can do just to put into a room to change the energy around that
Yep.
have magical practices that are crafty.
Arts and witchcraft.
Arts and witchcraft.
I love it.
Also, when I'm baking, like if I'm baking bread,
Mm.
braided bread loaves, absolutely braiding the magic into it.
One of my favorite arts and crafts to purchase from
Hmm.
local artisans are jewelry,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
specifically like the wire wrapping
Hmm.
jewelry, wire wrapped stones. I have a friend who made like a pentagram with 5 different beads, and
Mm-hmm.
each bead represented an element or one element or another. So I do love like the intention that goes into crafting stuff like that.
Hmm.
Even when you craft recipes, there's an art to that
Hmm.
too. So it's all arts and witchcraft.
It's all arts and witchcraft. And there are other things that are also magical artistic practices that aren't tied necessarily to witchcraft, but are
Mm,
absolutely a ally to it.
mm.
My words are the wrong. I have probably have the wrong words, but they work very well in conjunction with art and magic. You mentioned earlier art therapy.
Oh
It
yeah.
is that ability to get your feelings out, work out what you are feeling,
Mm-hmm.
what is bothering you in in the idea of artwork and releasing that, and there is a magic to do so.
You know, when I do artwork, my friend who is an art therapist essentially,
Hmm.
they call it being in the flow,
Hmm.
but I get very like sucked into just whatever, trying to, I have an idea and I'm trying to make something like my idea happen, and I will just be so focused on it. I don't need to eat. I'm not hungry.
Mm-mm.
I don't need distractions, although I like having music on. Everybody will spend a couple hours on their, we do art therapy nights. So
Hmm.
everybody will spend a few hours and I'm still like, I'm not done yet. Don't be done because I'm not done yet. I want to keep working on this. And I just get so focused into the
Hmm.
flow of it all. And I realize, that's kind of like why some people play sports. It's
Hmm.
because their brain can be so focused on this thing that all of the other brain chatter goes away. And
Hmm.
that's really therapeutic. It can be so therapeutic to be able to channel your focus, which mine is fleeting, by the
Hmm.
way. But so until I find something that I can hyper focus on, like art, and I can just enjoy the process of it so much, all of the other things in my head go away. Some of
Hmm.
the unpleasant stuff that kind of lives there sometimes, it'll just go away. It helps me focus, and I'm not worried or stressed or anxious or
Hmm.
sad because I'm creating something.
Hmm.
So yeah, I love art therapy a lot. I'm very huge proponent of it, however that manifests for people.
Hmm. And as queer folk, we definitely have a lot
Mm,
of inherent traumas that being able to have the art therapy and that kind of release is incredibly important.
hmm. And also, there's protest art. Even Pride is full of art and crafts and
Hmm.
creativity. There are ways of getting messages across, zines, so much culture in art. Queer artists are very much needed in this world.
Hmm.
I think so often of how much art still has yet to be created.
I don't think there will ever come a day when we run out of art. I know there's this idea
Hmm.
like, oh, everything at some point will have been made. Well, then remake it because every time you remake it, it's going to be different. No two things are perfect. If they are
Hmm.
handmade, man-made, human-made, we are not the precise precisions that robots may be. If you're going to craft a set of dinner plates, none of them are going to be exact. There's going to be something different in each one. There's every time you try to make something, there's going to be a piece of your soul. There's going to be a piece of an element that's in there that makes each piece unique. And that is a
There's
really cool thing.
a beauty in the flaws of a handcrafted item.
Hmm.
And don't get me started on AI that likes to steal everybody's art. Like, we wouldn't have AI art if it wasn't for art.
Hmm. Human art.
It
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, that's where it got its inspiration from, is stuff that people have already created. I don't think that AI is going to take over
Mm-mm.
being artists anytime soon.
No. And
It lacks something.
yeah, It lacks the connection to spirit.
Yeah, exactly. That human spirit connection
It can be
that makes
beautiful,
things so special.
but it's still
Yeah,
missing something. That
yeah.
is that spiritual connection. We talked about last week with in our tools, or sorry, I keep saying last week, a couple weeks ago in on our last episode, about making your own tools, which again is
Mm-hmm.
that craftiness for it. But we've also discussed about purchasing them from witchy vendors and local artists at your Ren fairs or pagan festivals,
Yes.
and all that handmade, handcrafted artwork.
Or yeah, I mean, if you want to have like a representation of a deity that you tend to have a connection to on your
Mm-hmm.
altar and you're not that kind of artist, find your local artists because they're out there creating
Mm-hmm.
artwork that's inspired and would add magic to your space,
Mm-hmm.
to your workings. It's great to be able to support local artists, especially
Mm-hmm.
since AI is out there stealing their stuff.
Right.
If you want to, that kind of thought and intention and magic poured into the decor of your home,
Mm-hmm.
there are people out there making it and selling things at fairs.
And if you can't find a fair or a convention in your area, there's Etsy. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of small local vendors that you can find on TikTok and Instagram that sell their
Mm-hmm.
website or their artwork directly off of their website. Those are absolutely the best ways, especially if you know that you are looking for a picture of Bridget or you are looking for a
Yep.
statue or a necklace of some sort that has a more of a specific thing. It's so much easier to be able to use the resources of the
Mm-hmm.
internet to find that connection to get the tool that you need from someone
I
who
love how
is a small
many
crafter.
Yeah, I love how many little artists have gone to like selling stickers of their art or
Hmm.
pins of their art. I just love even Kickstarter is a great
Hmm.
way to
Oh
support
yeah.
artists because there are people who have poured their art and their visions and ideas into like tarot cards or oracle cards.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just love the variety of what humans can think of and
Hmm.
create and share with the world. And I very much believe in that reciprocation of, pouring my love and support into their creative endeavors as much as I love in receiving encouragement and
Hmm.
joy for people on my own creative endeavors.
And there is something about the fee, the fair and energy exchange, when you
Hmm.
are purchasing something that was made by someone whose time and effort has gone into it, that you are not only again supporting their art, but also supporting them in the structure, whether that's in a tarot
Hmm.
deck that you're buying for that you're buying from someone, or if you are the artist selling it, there is the time and energy that you put in, that getting that feedback, the money back for it. There is that whole cycle of
Energy exchange, support, respect,
hmm.
appreciation. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to go out there and support your local artists
Oh,
or be a local artist if you
right.
know. Yeah, both of those would be good options.
Hmm. And make your own and dabble into making your own and embrace the imperfection of your own stuff.
And here's my thing. If you tell yourself it's all been done before or there's already people out there doing it that are better than me, just know that there are people out there doing it that aren't better than
Hmm.
you. And if not them, then who? If not, if they're doing it too, then why not you? If you feel drawn to create something, just get into it.
And if you do
Yeah.
get into it, you don't have to turn it into something.
Nope.
That's
It could be
everyone, I
just for
think.
you.
Exactly. It's one of those things that we have this kind of economy that says everything needs a side hustle. So, oh my God, you're really good at that. You can do that, turn that into a second business. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you just do it because you love it, and that is just fine.
I've had very deeply spiritual exchanges just from putting some of my artwork on somebody's skin.
Hmm.
And it's temporary. I don't do I do temporary tattoos, not permanent tattoos. Sometimes it's just for you. Sometimes it's just temporary. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
just meant to be a for now thing. Sometimes it's just like spell work.
Hmm.
It's what was needed now. It was what was special for now. And it doesn't have to be a hustle. It doesn't have to be a hobby. It can just be its own purpose.
Hmm.
Its own magic.
Yes.
So take your creative energy and invest in yourself. Invest
Hmm.
in something. Put something out there. Put yourself out there.
And don't forget, for those of you who listen and are we're talking, we've mentioned a lot of physical arts, but there's a lot of other arts too,
Mhm.
performing arts, musicians. I could not,
Poetry.
poetry, writers, authors,
Mhm. Comedians. That's all
all of
art.
it. That's all
Yeah.
art. And it's just as needed
Yeah.
as physical reminders
hmm
sometimes.
This is
And
human culture.
mhm,
This is our magic. This is
it's
how
not a
we
joke.
connect.
It's not a joke when you can have that song that saves your life. It's a real
Mm.
thing. And that was created by someone.
My favorite thing is having songs that remind me of people or places.
Hmm.
Art exists for reasons.
Yes.
It is a salve to our souls. It is the language of our souls. Yeah, music is one of the probably the art that I consume the most.
Hmm. Is there
Yeah.
anything we missed? I know we talked a lot about arts and witchcraft, and again, other than us going out and saying again, go do art. Go do
Yep.
art in any way, shape, or form. If you are making
Yeah.
stick figures on paper, I don't care. Do art.
Yes, make it cute. Just make it cute.
Doesn't mean
It
I
doesn't
don't even
even
care to
have
make
to
it
be
cute.
cute.
Just make it. It doesn't whatever your
Mhm.
definition is, just make it. Just do it.
And if you are an artist and you do some kind of arts and
Hmm.
crafts, share that with us. Send us a link, send us a comment, share your art with us. Let
Yes,
us know what it
please.
is that you make. Send us a link to your Spotify page, or yeah, we want to know what queer witchy artists are doing out there these
Hmm.
days. What's your favorite witchy music? What's your favorite witchy artist?
And if you
Yeah.
are a witchy artist and you are queer and you want to come here, let us know. We'd love to have you in and talk more about your art and how it
Yeah.
relates to your queerness and your spiritual practice and all of that. So, all of those
Yeah.
things.
Thank you so much for listening to the Queer Witch Project. And if you like this topic and you want to give us a thumbs up or some 5 stars, or subscribe, review, comments, all of the interaction helps us out a lot. Thank you.
And if there is a topic you'd like to know more about or an episode topic you'd like to suggest, please contact us at thequeerwitchproject@gmail.com or find us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram with the handle at Queer Witch Project. We upload every other week. And remember, queerness is a key to magic.
Be yourself and love rebelliously. Bye.
Bye.
I am Damona Peacock, fabulous.